Welcome all to the course of Data Communication Networking, BE 7th semester, Electronics and Communication Engineering. We are discussing a Unit 8 application layer. Today's topic is electronic mail and file transfer. So, in both topic, we are going to see some protocols for both electronic mail and file transfer. So let's get started. Electronic mail. So most of you are familiar with email. So today we discuss the electronic mail in detail. One of the most popular internet service in the electronic mail, just like our email. The designer of the internet probably never imagined the popularity of this application program. Its architecture consists of several components that we will discuss in this chapter. At the beginning of the internet era, the message sent by electronic mail were short and consisted of a text only. They let people exchange quick memos. Today, electronic mail is such as a more complex. It allows a message to include the text, audio and video. It also allows one message to be sent to one or more recipients. Fine. So I think it is clear to you. So in this point, we first study the general architecture of an email, including the three main components: user agent, message transfer agent and message access agent. Then we describe the protocol that implement this component. So following point to be discussed in this section is architecture, user agent, a message transfer agent just like our SMTP, a message access agent, POP and IMAP, and last a web-based mail. So starting with our architecture. To explain the architecture of an email, we give four scenarios. We begin with the simplest situation and add complexity as we proceed. The fourth scenario is the most common in the exchange of email. So first scenario. In the first scenario, our sender and the receiver of an email are user on the same system. They are directly connected to the shared system. The administrator has created one mailbox for each user where the receiver or received message are stored. A mailbox is a part of a local hard drive, a special file with a permission restrictions. Only the owner of the mailbox has access to it. Where Alice, user, needs to send a message to Bob, another user, Alice runs a user agent UA program to prepare the message and store it in the Bob's mailbox. The message has the sender and the recipient mailbox address. So Bob can retrieve and read the contents of the mailbox at its convenience using the user agent. So this figure shows a concept. This is similar to the traditional memo exchange between the employees in the office. There is a mail room where each employee has a mailbox with his or her name on it. When Alice needs to send a memo to Bob, she writes up the memo that inserts it into a Bob mailbox. When a Bob checks his mailbox, he finds that Alice's memo and reads it. So when the sender and the receiver of the email are on the same system, we need only two user agent. So only two user agent over here, 1 and 2. Second scenario. In the second, the sender and the receiver of an email are user agent on two different systems. The message needs to be sent over the internet. So it is system 1, it is system 2. Here we need a user agent and a message transfer agent, MTA. So it is a user agent and message transfer agent, MTA and user agent. Alice needs to use a user agent program to send her message to the system at her own site. Fine. The system at her site uses a queue to store the message waiting to be sent. Bob also needs a user agent program to retrieve the message stored in the mailbox of a system at his site. The message, however, needs to be sent through the internet from Alice to Bob's site. Here, two message transfer agents are needed, one client and one server. Like most client server programs on the internet, the server needs to run all the time because it does not know when a client will ask for a connection. The client, on the other hand, can be altered by the system when there is a message in the queue to be sent. Fine. So when the sender and the receiver on the email are on the different system, we need two user agent and a pair of MTA, client and servers. Fine. Third scenario. In the third scenario, a Bob is a second scenario is directly connected to his system. Alice, however, is separated from her system. Fine. So there is a LAN or WAN connection. Either Alice is connected to the system via point-to-point WAN, such as a dial-up modem or DSL or cable modem, or she connected to the LAN in an organization that uses a one mail server for handling emails. All users need to send their message to the mail server. Fine. So it is clear in this figure. So Alice still needs a user agent to prepare her message. She then needs to send the message through the LAN or WAN. This can be done through the pair of the message transfer agent. Whenever Alice has a message to send, she calls the user agent, which in turn calls an MTA client. And the MTA client establishes the connection with an MTA server. So MTA client is the server on the system, fine, which is running all the time. The system at Alice's site queues all message received. It then uses an MTA client to send the message to the system to the Bob sites. The system receives the message and stores in the Bob mailbox. At his convenience, Bob uses his user agent to retrieve the message and read it. Note that we need two pairs of MTA client server programs. So, when a sender is connected to the mail via LAN or WAN, we need a two user agent and two pairs of MTS. A fourth scenario. In the fourth and most common scenario, Bob is also connected his mail server by a WAN or LAN. After the message has arrived at Bob mail server, Bob needs to retrieve it. Here we need another set of client server agents, which we call message access agent, MAA, message access agent, a green box, which is running all the time and requests the transfer of the message. So this situation is given in this figure. So UA is a user agent, MTA message transfer agent, and MA message access agent. Fine. There are two important points here. First, Bob cannot bypass the mail server and use the MTA server directly. To use MTA server directly, Bob would need to run a MTA server all the time because he does not know when the message will arrive. This implies that the Bob must keep his computer on all the time if he is connected to his system through the LAN. If he is connected through the WAN, he must keep the connection up to all the time. Neither of this situation is feasible today. Second, note that the Bob needs another pair of client server programs, message access programs. This is so because an MTA client server program is a push program. The client pushes the message to the server. The Bob needs a pull program. The client needs to pull the message from the server. So for this, a particular figure is there. Right? So it is a push message and it is pull message. So MTA will use a push and MAA use pull message. So when both sender and the receiver are connected to the mail server via LAN or WAN, we need two user agents, two pair of MTA and a pair of MAAs. This is most situation today. Fine. A user agent. It is a component of electronic mail system. It provides a service to the user to make the process of sending and receiving a message easier. A service provided by the user agent. A user agent is a software package that composes, reads, replies to and forwards the message. It also handles the mailbox. So this figure shows the service of a user agent: composing message, reading messages, replying to messages, forwarding messages and handling mailbox. Fine. So it is a user agent. A format of email. To send an email, a user through an user agent creates a mail that look very similar to the postal mail. Fine. It has an envelope and a message. You can see in this figure it has an envelope and it is a message. It is our conventional postal mail, it is our electronic mail. So both have similarities. An envelope. Envelope usually contains the sender and the receiver address. A message. The message consists a header body. It is a header and a body. The header of the message defines the sender, receiver, the subject of the message and some other information such as the encoding type and other. The body of the message consists the actual information to be read by our recipient. So it is a sending of a mail. Receiving a mail. A user agent is triggered by the user. If a user has a mail, a user agent informs the user with notice. If the user is ready to read the mail, the list is displayed in which each slide consists of summary of the information about a particular message in our mailbox. The summary usually includes the sender mail address, the subject and the time the mail was sent or received. The user can select any of the message and display its contents on the screen. So what is the email address? To deliver the mail, a email handling a system must be an addressing system which is unique address. In the internet, the address consists of a two part, a local part and a domain name which is separated by the @ sign. So local part has the address of a mailbox on the mail server and the domain is the domain name of a mail server. Fine. So it is generally familiar to you that each one have a xyz@gmail.com. Fine. So xyz is our local part and gmail.com is a domain name. Now a message transfer agent called as an SMTP. The actual message transfer is done through the message transfer agents. To send a mail, a system must have a client MTA, and to receive a mail, a system must have a server MTA. The formal protocol that defines the MTA client and server in the internet is called as a Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, a full form of SMTP. Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Two pairs of MTA client server diagrams are used in the most common situation, just like our fourth scenario. Figure shows the range of a SMTP protocol in this scenario. SMTP uses two times, one and over here, between the sender and the sender mail server and between the two mail servers. Fine. As we will see, another protocol is needed between the mail server and the receiver. So another protocol is received over in this area. SMTP simply defines how commands and response must be sent back and forth. Each network is free to choose a software package for a implementation. we discuss the mechanism of the mail server by the SMTP in reminder. Command and response. The SMTP uses the commands and response to transfer the message between the MTS client and MTS server. Each command or reply is terminated by the 2-character end of line token. Fine. So MTA client command and server gives a response. Okay. So there are various commands and various keywords are there, but we are not covering in our discussion. Next is a message access agent, just like our POP and IMAP. The first and the second stage of the mail delivery uses SMTP, as we already seen. However, SMTP is not involved in the third stage because the SMTP is a push protocol. It is a push protocol. It pushes the message from the client to the server. In other words, the direction of the bulk data is from client to the server. On the other hand, the third stage need a pull protocol. A client must pull the message from the server. The direction of the bulk data is from server to client. The third stage uses a message access agent. Currently, two message access protocols are available. POP and called as an Post Office Protocol version 3 and IMAP Internet Mail Access Protocol version 4. Figure shows the position of the two protocols in the most common situation, just like our fourth scenario. Fine. So it will there. So POP3, Post Office Protocol version 3 is a simple and limited in functionality. The client POP3 software is installed on a recipient computer. The server POP software is installed on the mail server. Mail access starts with the client when the user needs to download email from the mailbox to the mail server. The client opens a connection to the server on the TCP port 110. It then sends it the username and password to the access the mailbox. The user can then list and retrieve the mail messages one by one. This figure shows an example of downloading the POP 3. Yes, it is a exchange of commands and response in POP 3. POP 3 has two modes, the delete mode and the keep mode. In the delete mode, the mail is deleted from the mailbox after the each retrieval. In the keep mode, the mail remains in the mailbox after the retrieval. The delete mode is normally used when a user is working at her permanent computer and can save and organize the received mail after the reading and replying. The keep node is normally used when a user accesses her mail away from her primary computer, just like a laptop. The mail is read but kept in the system for the later retrieval and organizing. IMAP 4. The another mail access protocol in the Internet Mail Access is Internet Mail Access Protocol version 4. IMAP 4 is similar to the POP 3, but it has more functions and features. IMAP 4 is more powerful and more complex. POP 3 is deficient in several ways. It does not allow the user to organize her mail on her server. The user cannot have different folders on the server. Of course, the user can create a folder on her own computer. In addition, POP 3 does not allow the user to partially check the contents of the mail before downloading. So IMAP 4 provides the following extra functions. First is, a user can check the email header prior to downloading. Second, a user can search the contents of the email for a specific string of a character prior to downloading. A user can partially download email. This is especially useful if the bandwidth is limited and the email contains the multimedia with high bandwidth requirements. A user can create, delete and rename mailbox on the mail server. Last, a user can create a hierarchy of the mailbox in the folder of an email storage. So this function generally you can see the Gmail. In the Gmail you can create your own folder. You can also subcategorize or hierarchical level folders. Fine. You can search the mail. You can see the summary before downloading. Fine. So all the features are in our Gmail available. So what is a web-based mail? Email is such a common application that some websites today provide a service to the anyone who access the site. The two common sites just like our Hotmail, Yahoo and Gmail or Google. The idea is very simple. A mail transfer from the Alice browser to her mail server through the HTTP. The transfer of the message from the sending mail server to the receiving the mail server is still through the SMTP. Finally, the message from the receiving server, just like our web server of Bob browser, is done through the HTTP. The last phase is very interesting. Instead of POP3 and IMAP 4, HTTP is normally used. When Bob needs to retrieve his emails, he sends a message to the website just like Hotmail. The website sends the form to be filled by the Bob, which is include a login name and password. If the login name and password match, the email is transferred from the web server to the Bob browser in a HTML format. So it is a example of our Gmail. Fine. Okay. Our next point is a file transfer. Transferring files from one computer to another is one of the most common tasks expected from the networking or internetworking environment. As a matter of fact, the greatest volume of the data exchange in the internet today is due to the file transfer. In this section, we discuss the one popular protocol involved in the file transfer is a file transfer protocol as listed over here, FTP. So, FTP is a standard mechanism provided by the TCP/IP for the copying a file from one host to the another. So, file transfer protocol is used for a file transfer. Although transferring files from one system to another seems simple and straightforward, some problem must be dealt with first. For example, two systems may use the different file name convention. Two systems may have different ways to represent the text and data. Two systems may have different directory structures. All these problems have been solved by the FTP in a very simple and elegant approach. FTP differs from the other client-server application is in that it establishes two connections between the hosts. One connection is used for data transfer and another control for control information, command and response. Separation of the commands and the data transfer makes the FTP more efficient. The control connection uses very simple rules of a communication. We need to transfer only a line of a command or a line of a response at a time. The data connection, on the other hand, needs more complex rule due to a variety of the data type transferred. However, the difference in the complexity is at a FTP level, not a TCP. For the TCP, both connections are treated the same. FTP uses two well-known TCP ports. 21 port number is used for a control mechanism and 20 port number 20 for the data connection. Fine. So it will written over here. Figure shows the basic model of FTP. The client has three components: a user interface, a client control process and the client data transfer process. The server has a two components, a server control process and a server data transfer process. The control connection is made between the control process. Fine. So a pink to pink connection, a control connection, and the data connection is made between the data transfer process, light blue to light blue. A connection control remains connected during the entire iterative FTP server session. A data connection is opened and then closed for each file transfer. It opens each time commands that involve the transferring files are used, and it closes when the file is transferred. In other words, when a user starts an FTP session, a control connection is opens. While the control connection is open, the data connection can be opened and closed multiple times if several files are transferred. Fine. So it is a simple FTP protocol, file transfer protocol. So it is a end of our session. So let's revise our discussion. We started our discussion with introduction of electronic mail and file transfer in the application layer. We discussed the electronic mail in detail, and following are the subtopic of each section, just like architecture, user agent, message transfer agent called as an SMTP, and message access agent just like POP and IMAP. So it is a first scenario. We have discussed 4 different scenarios where after each one there is a complexity is increased. So in the first there is a both client and server, or both sender and receiver in the same system. In the second scenario, both have their own system but connected to the internet. In the third scenario, one receiver is connected to his system and another sender is not connected to the system directly, but she connected to through the WAN or LAN. In the fourth scenario, both sender and receiver are connected through their system with LAN or WAN, so which is most commonly scenario in our recent time. Then we study about the push and pull for an MT and MA client and server program. After that, we have introduced a user agent with a service of a user agent. Then we have a format of an email which is very similar to our conventional postal mail. Format of an email address which is a local part, and domain name. Then we go for a SMTP function. After that, we have seen a command and response. Then a POP3 and IMAP4 is introduced at the third stage. We have seen the exchange of a commands and response in POP3. Then we see a web-based mail, and after that a file transfer protocol is discussed. So it is a very simple file transfer protocol client server program. So it is the end of our session. So it is a question for you. Okay students, see you in the next session. Thank you.